Good morning, Facebook friends and family and all other worlds of the nations, if you will.
Good morning.
Everybody. Good morning, good morning. We'll give you a minute. Maybe not. I'm trying to fix this. What do you see, Mama? More Mama, not me. More Mama, not me. More Mama, not me. Good morning, everybody. So, first and foremost, welcome my mom today. Hi, this is my mom, Sonia. Sonia, everybody in the world.
Hi.
Everybody. Well, whoever's watching, everybody. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of an insight into what Project H is, what it started out as and stuff, and how it is, what I'm basing it on, and what I'm kind of doing this story on, and then how it's impacted me, my life, and everybody's life, and all that, and the trauma and whatnot, the effects of it, you know, the whole 9 yards of what you go with traumatic experiences. I am nervous as shit, pardon me, because I don't do very well with a lot of stuff, but I also don't have a lot of memory of what happened, and so I have bits and pieces, and due to the fact that it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's extremely important, and mental health is extremely important subject that obviously I'm focusing on right now, specifications of PTSD and brain dissociation disorders, because I suffer from both, and I know that most people do, my mom as well, and multiple other people. And for those of you who don't know, post-traumatic stress disorder, it happens when you are in an extreme situation of an event, a circumstance, life, and honestly, it doesn't have to be extreme in any way. Your difference and my difference of an extreme could be, this to this, and so it really is, it's a trauma effect or a tragedy of some sort or something that's happened to you. And then brain dissociation disorder is where you are, your brain basically functions on two levels. It either has an A or B switch, and it doesn't have like the middle ground, if you will. So about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with brain dissociation disorder. I had a very, very hard time and very dark time in my life that I couldn't understand, I couldn't process, I couldn't figure out who I was, if you will. Like, there was literally two people battling, like two people in between right now, one end and the other end, and there was no middle ground. I was either an emotional basket case or a cold-hearted bitch. It was like one of the two. I either had emotions or I had none. So that's very hard to process, to understand. I mean, it's taken me 4 years to even get the grasp of what it possibly could be. So that's the backstory of why I'm doing what I'm doing. The main reason, what I need your support for Project H, is that there are children in this country, in this state, in this city, in this neighborhood, right next door probably, who are suffering a traumatic experience one way or another, whether it's through a form of bullying, whether it's a household stuff, whether it's just whatever the circumstance is, okay? And kids like myself, who at the age of 11 come to a country, who have the ability to find their way, who have the ability, or any age, if they've been through something and they don't have the ability to express themselves in any way, they become kind of lost in a lost cause for so much in their life. And I was a lost cause basically up until I was 28. I mean, no joke. Like, from the age that the war happened to me to 28, I was basically a lost cause, because I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know how to, in any way. And then art came into my life and literally saved my life due to the fact of my child. Due to art, children and art are the key to our success. And my goal, my whole passion, my whole everything for the rest of my life is to be able to be there and mentor and educate and give any kid the ability to express themselves, so that they are able to better equip themselves with understanding, knowledge, and creativity and tools to not go through the things that I went through, to not repeat the same mistakes that I made, because believe it or not, PTSD and trauma is in form hereditary, and so there's so much that happens through your life cycle, through your lifetime, that as a kid, that is the most important and most functional and most impressionable anything in life. And then if we don't like take this moment to say, like, okay, so you're fucked up, let's fix it by doing this, how do you feel, let's do this. I mean, to the level of that, we're going to be at the point where I was 2 years ago, and ready to slip my wrists in front of my child because I couldn't handle the world anymore, and I had no idea how to talk to anybody about it. So
it's not just you. It's hard. It's
well, it's not just me. It's everybody.
It's battling with depressions and PTSD from especially traumatic experience and situations that three of you were, and especially you because you were only 5 years old. Like, we had pretty good life. I mean, we built a small house, and even hard work in the fields from first sunlight and to the end, it wasn't hard. And then we built that house, and maybe 2 years after that, all wars started happening in all Yugoslavia. It's kind of Tito died, and they started separating, and you can feel it. It wasn't around us yet, but you can feel it in the air. You can feel the fear of the people. People are afraid of what's going to happen, how it's going to happen.
Right.
And you're not prepared for those stuff.
No, and people feed into their own fear, which feeds into their own...
It's not, but you try to make life as possibly normal that you enjoy. And that was one of probably best part of my life, those 2 years when we had that house and everything. And then in 92, in November, your grandma, when she died, it already starts all around. You see people wearing guns, you hear people dying, killing, all of it, but you never believe that it's going to happen right to you, that you're going to be part of it. I know, like a week ago, before we actually captured, your grandma's sister, your aunt, or whatever, however you call that, she was on that, she was dying, and she died like 3 days before we were captured, and we went for funeral. And I remember your dad was in a, everybody had to be, thing is, doesn't matter which military you're going to choose, which side you're going to choose. People would take a guns just to protect what they have, because you don't know what other side or whoever around you will going to do. And Muslims and Catholics in Croatia, or whatever you call that, we never had issue. It was pretty decent. I mean, people that captured us was just a few days ago having coffee in our house. You never, really never believed that it's going to come to that. But that Saturday, it was week after Easter in 93, that Saturday we went for funeral, and your dad was passing by, we went through the city, through the Vitesse, and everybody was saying something's going to happen. You see all those barricades, people with guns, and you were guys actually home alone with your Aunt Jana and with Drago, and God Almighty, it was so scary. And your dad says he's going to stop to see what's going on. And I just wanted, at that moment, I always wanted him just to move us. But he never believed who's going to come and take you out of your house. Who's going to come at your door, who has, it's...
And just for you tuning in, guys, and before I mention it, you guys are watching the story with me for the first time, too. So you're hearing it with me for the first time.
And I know that Sunday, April 16, 93, it was week after Easter. It was actually Orthodox Eastern. We have our Eastern week before, and then they had it. And we had colored eggs, and we just had fun. We came home, you were guys there, and that night, it was so quiet, nobody believed. I mean, I don't know, it was just really quiet night. You never experienced that. Next morning around 6 o'clock all hell will lose. We were waked with grenades and guns, and where our house was, you can see city, you can see Vides, and it was just like...
So can I, the only, like, just so everybody knows, it was really hard to do this in therapy when I went to, because this is the only day I really remember, kind of. Okay. Like, I woke up, right? I woke up that morning. For some reason, I keep having the memory of me, like, answering the door, or like me waking somebody up. Like, can you tell me like that? Like, in my head, every time, like, I think of that day, I open the door and Tete Kata.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, it's me opening the door. And I don't know if it's like that.
Yeah, it's that morning when we were waked up with the grenades, it wasn't Tete Kata, it was Jozo.
Okay.
Jozo, Ivana's godmother's, whatever, dad, our best friends. They just lived across of the street down of us. And our house was out of the village, across of the cemetery. It was just a few houses around. It's not too many houses. It's just a few houses around. And he also came at the door and he didn't knock. He actually hit the door like, and Dad get up, and I just know that what happened at that moment was Dad get up, he just get dressed, and he had to leave, because we knew at that point when war starts, when actually came to our doors, they were killing any man that they find in the house. And history that Dad had with Muslims or whatever, they're good friends, but always drinking and fights and all of that.
Right.
He just got dressed and he left, and he also told him, just go, I'm gonna take care about them. And Kata and Anka, they came too. Their mother was there sick. Came over, and Jozo told Jana stayed overnight too. Jana was captured with us too. And he just says, get your kids, get them, and let's go down to my house. And it was funny because a week ago, God Almighty, I said I was planting watermelons that nobody ever planted there.
Right.
And he also was cleaning the road, bushes. And I says, this is not going to end up good. I'm planting watermelons and you cleaning the bushes.
You can't keep anything alive.
You know,
like,
it was kind of like, God, this is not going to end up good. And I just took you guys. I didn't, Ivana was 18 months. She was in diapers. I didn't even took nothing. I just took you. And we went in Jozo's house. We walked down there and we were sitting, but I remember Jozo had 2 grenades and he put them in the outside of the house in I don't know how to say, cut sheet or whatever, that pile. And said if anybody survives, tell the dad that it's there.
See, okay, so I'm going to stop you there for just a second, because my recollection now of that whole day, like that morning, is completely different. Like, I don't remember that at all.
We were sitting in Jozo's house. I mean, Adela, you were only... Like, Adela, you were close to 6 years old kid.
Right, but...
Who has 2 little siblings, who understands more that 2 of them did. Dragana was 3, Ivana was 18 months. But your mind probably blocked all of that. You can remember, but you can't remember. I remember your blonde hair, it was just cut like this. And you had that green neck, God Almighty, neck shirts, whatever. Turtleneck, yeah. And
it must have been an ugly green too.
Yeah, and you were just...
See, like, in my head, like, I even wrote it out, though. Like, I had... sitting in there because that day, like, for that morning, like for some reason, like, I the way I remember, maybe it was in between, like, bits and pieces, but is that Dad, Dad got up, packed his stuff, he left, and then we were packing some stuff. Like there was some part of it that I remember us grabbing something or not. And then somehow, I distinctly remember them like coming into the house with guns. Like
that was happening.
I remember that.
Okay, yeah. It's when we went in Yozo's house.
So that did happen that day.
Everything that happened that morning, actually around 11 o'clock. That left. We went to Yozo's house. It was Yozo's mother, his wife, little Anto, his son, Kate, Anka, and us.
Is that Anto?
He ended up. No. That's the difference.
Okay, I didn't know.
Little Anto, he helped us to build our house. He was such a great kid, hard-working kid. No, he wasn't killed, but he ended up in mental institution after that.
Yeah.
Because when we were that morning around 11, I mean, we were looking through the window. It was scary. A house down there was Miron, and you can hear. You see just the smoke. You see down in the Vitesse, you hear all grenades. You see the smoke. And then suddenly down the road, you hear just Allahu Akbar, and people coming up. And they show up on the door. They broke the door and show up on the door with the guns.
So that's what I remember then. That's where my memory starts, like at that moment. Because I guess the fear of that is when it kicked in.
And when they show up, sad thing was people who were our neighbors, who we believed that they are our friends, they were one with the guns. I mean, they cannot even look at you in the eyes.
Yeah, because they held us in a house that I used to play in front of. Like, I played in front of a house that I was held prisoner in.
And
so
then take us down. They took us out. Jana was there too. I mean, it was hard. And they take us down the road, and in a village called Počulica, just right down.
Yeah.
We were passing by Miron's house. Miron's house was all destroyed, burned. Then you can see people that they shot on the side of the roads. And when we were passing, how much damage was done in so short time was unbelievable. We were brought in the basement of Bektash house. We passed Ljuban's house. He was Dad's best friend. He was killed in the Križančevo selo that night when it happened. We passed that, and then we were locked in the basement. And a woman whose house was there, she's saying, "Oh yes, you have to get what happened to my family." We didn't know what happened down Ahmici, that people were already killed.
So for those of you, I'm going to stop right there for a second and say hi to everybody for a minute so Mom can take a smoke break and I can take a mental overload break because Ahmici and my village Vitez in Počulica, right? Mm-hmm. There was a simultaneous attack on April 16th that morning between the two cities. So basically the Muslims and the Croats at the same time decided that, and now mind you, this is two rogues of extremists in both nationalities, okay, in both faiths and both that. They decided that these extremists didn't like each other and that nobody, whatever, and that is, they planned a secret attack on
Village Ahmici, which is like
Ahmici.
Those Croatian extremes, whoever make order. But it's going
which, by the way, if you watch the documentaries, it wasn't a rogue thing. If you watch what it was played at a whole political point. I mean, this whole Ahmici and my villages and in the surrounding areas was a planned attack by the government's officials themselves. If you watch any of the documentaries, they plainly stated in there, we made secrets and pacts, we did this, which they decided that murdering whole villages of innocent women and children, again, both sides knew, these extremists knew that they were doing it because both the governments were working together, okay? And
because it was planned, I have to stop you here. It was planned, when Tito died, Yugoslavia had 6 small states, like America has 52
Right.
or whatever. When Tito died, those three extremities, from the Serbs, Milosevic, from Croatian,
Right.
Tudjman, and from the Muslims,
Izetbegovic.
Izetbegovic. Those three extremities, they were captured in 74 for same ideas that they want to do.
And Izetbegovic captured in Sarajevo too.
Once Yugoslavia was taken to pieces, they get a chance to do, and the country was socially, in every way, devastated, and people were hungry.
And economically,
you have someone who promised them God
the
knows
world.
what, and they already had a plan how they gonna, because all other states you could separate. Serbia goes to Serbia. All of them,
But
Croatia
Bosnia,
goes,
because Bosnia was the centralized of the three nationalities, it held the most.
and it's mixed. Most of the mixed marriage. You can separate parents, but how you gonna separate child to which religion belongs?
And
When they did, they already separate Bosnia. This part's gonna become to Croatia. This part's gonna become to Serbia, and Muslims will not gonna get nothing.
which is what they started in there.
It was planned to, and it starts before Ahmići happened. Muslims did same. One gruesome murdering in the Croatia village.
Yep.
Where it's already
Where it was
pictured and documented, and they killed, killing everybody, kids, nobody left.
so
And then
beginning to
same thing, Croatian soldier or politics they want to do. They did it to Ahmići that morning. What I want to say, it's nobody thought about simple people or elder kids. They didn't care who is going to be sacrificed. They thought if they do that, kill that village, burn what they did, that
fear
they
would
were going to be
instill and it'd be
over. It's going to
easier.
be over. They were going to surrender. Actually, it's not. Didn't happen that.
people fought back.
Everybody knew what's going to happen. Even from Dad's military, whatever that side that he
regime,
was.
his
They sent a guy to your uncle Ljuban the
Yeah.
night before, because they didn't know exactly where our house was. We were out of the village. They sent a guy to tell them that we need to move, that hell is going to happen tomorrow morning. And your uncle didn't believe in that. Pretty much half of the Počolica Croatian nationality was sacrificed. It was 86 of us that was captured that morning that nobody didn't know for us.
so
We were just whoever survived that they didn't kill, we were pulled all in those 3 houses in the basements. You have nothing.
I remember.
We didn't have food. We didn't get. Ivana had just one diaper that she wore for all those time.
Were there bars? I mean, in my head, it's bars. I mean, and maybe that's just a creation of my mind.
Yes,
was there
no, it was a window.
I remember the
basement.
window.
Yeah,
like I
we were
remember the
locked.
small window, but like to me, to the other side of me, like it
No, it wasn't bar. It was fenced. That was fenced,
Fenced.
Because it was a Muslim religion house right there, whatever they jamia, whatever they call. It was right there and had that fence around.
okay,
And the day when we were released, we were all sent out.
and that's probably where my
But until then, like when they captured us and put us there that first day, we didn't know what's going on. We heard grenade down, we heard grenade above, where some of the Croatians from the village kind of kept post. And then when they captured us, they had to surrender. And that's when your dad ended up in the prison, in the Zenica, on the other side. We didn't know nothing for each other for almost a month.
I know
If we're alive, who is alive, who is dead.
It was.
And those few first day or two, it was horrible. It's no electricity. We didn't have the covers. April was still cold. I know that Jozo's mother has some medication she brought with her. It was they started taking me and Anka and Kata, leaving you kids with their mother in that basement, and they would take us out to go from house to house to see if someone to open the house, if they put a bomb or something in the house. If someone go first, we're gonna die. I don't know, from all the war that happened, those few days was hardest mentally days, and in every way. I would leave you guys and go, and I don't know if I'm gonna find you or I'm gonna end up dead in that house that I'm opened, or when they put us for the life wall, or
So I just want to point out to you guys that my mom was like 25, 24, 25.
No.
How old were you? You were young.
I was about 20. God. 93, 27.
27.
Yeah, 27.
So, my mom
Yeah.
was
I was 27.
27 with 3 children, and 4 really, if you think of her sister.
Yeah, she was only 13 years old.
And we sit here. I mean, and I can't, like I said, I am like, we're here now. Like, look at this. Like, we're fucking here. But there's a woman right now doing that. Like,
It is somewhere.
You know
and
what I
that's,
mean?
that's the some other me
right,
is
the
somewhere
reality
else
of that.
in same situation.
Right, and this
that,
second is we're telling this story.
that they didn't choose for that to happen. Nobody asked me or anybody. They separate men's in the one hall where they have dance or whatever it was. They separated them from us. We would go, and if we could find some food in the house for the first few days before they were gonna burn the houses, we had hope that we're gonna be
Right.
back. And fourth day, I remember they brought us to my house again, and I saw that someone was in the house. And I think Dad came because he put in that old wooden stove. He put some stuff in that wasn't there. And that was the last time that I went in the house. I didn't have one picture. I didn't took nothing. I wasn't even able to take a diaper, that cotton diaper for Ivana. We were brought back, and one day they just says, "Oh, you're not going," and you can just see smoke. All houses were in smoke. That was the last time that I saw our home rebuilt until 2000.
Until we went back.
When we went back.
We went back, yeah. And there was nothing when we went back but a slab.
Not long after, we could hear, because they would come in the basement in there, because Ahmici was gruesome massacre that happened that we didn't did. But I understand those people too. And you are a victim until point you
pull the trigger.
To be judged and pull the trigger. And Muslims are most of the time victims in that war.
They've
But
been
then-
for they and let's.
It's not just in Benavides,
right, but
everywhere.
let me break this down just a little bit on a history lesson. Even through there in Bosnia, since 1300 BC, they have been massacred and all of that. And again, this is going back and not. This isn't to excuse anything or to do anything on that. It's just the understanding of level of persecution
Like
to
a hate,
people,
like
because of hate or because
like
of
hate
your religion.
between Islamic religion and Catholics in that specific area was bad, because on the time,
Mind-blowing.
like between Serbs and Muslims, 600 years ago, before war, Muslims
The
took
Orthodox-
everything. They had those agas, and they have those people who was in. And what happened?
What
happened?
empire?
Like
the Ottoman Empire.
yeah,
Through
and
all that.
and,
Look that up.
how was happening was, if Catholic person, whoever, or Orthodox, wants to get married, Aga was first one to sleep with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
That was how it. That's the hate going a long ago back, and it's never gonna end. It's never gonna end. It's just feeding, because that's how you raise your kids. When you raise your children in the hate, in the house that we were, I mean, those kids, soon as they reach the hand door, they hate us. House that we were in, that guy was captain. And we had actually youngest person that was captured that morning was only 10 days old baby. That Branko and his wife, they lost a girl, she drowned. And then she gave a birth on cesarean section just 10 days ago when they captured us. And they captured them too. We were all in basement. They put her up in one room, and she was pretty much witnesses everything that they're talking, that's going on, what's happening. But however, after they burned those houses and everything, so one day, because you know how your grandma knows to be sometimes crazy.
That's where I get my crazy from.
Because Jana was captured too. They decided, they believed to them. And our milkman find a way for them to come up in the Pocholica. So my parents and my brother...
Listen, really quick. For as crazy as shit, okay, as my family is on some parts, especially my grandmother, okay, as crazy as shit as she is, she fucking went to the war looking for us. Like, here's the thing. The strength of a human being to go for their children, okay? To go into something for their children, and not just their children. I mean, yes, my grandmother was crazy. Yes, she made thousands of mistakes. She was not perfect, and she's not perfect. There's a lot of things to say about her and things like that. But the fact that somebody... no regard for your own life, no regard for your own safety, no regard for your own thing. She went into Pochula. She went into the zone. She found a way. Because I'll tell you this right now. Grandfather, I love him. I love him to you know what I mean? And all that stuff. But I know for a fact, due to the generations of women we have in our family, due to my mother and due to me, that my grandmother, the devil itself was within her to get to where she needed to go for her child, for her children, and for her grandchildren. Like, as insane as she is, like, that is a credit that like, you have to give her. Like, you have...
God Almighty, I remember
strength.
that morning, because the thing is, Mujahideen's, real Mujahideen's from East, they were already in that village.
Right.
And everywhere you just hear Allahu Akbar. But worst thing is, nobody knows we're there.
Yeah.
We were, how they call that...
We were
casualty. We were kind of casualty.
We were the casualties of war. A little again history on the side note on that. During the whole 93 through 95 peace talks and these going in and out, and we're doing diplomatic things or whatever, my Vitez and all the surrounding little villages in there, Zenica and Busavacha and Akhmit, like all of that in there, right? We were the red zone. So if you remember back when the Iraq War started after 9/11, and they had Baghdad, it was like the red zone. You couldn't get in, you couldn't get out. Like, you knew and you saw it on TV. Well, that was us. But we didn't have a TV, we didn't have radio, we didn't have anything.
Muslims were controlled. Everything was in Sarajevo, and Muslims has
already took over Sarajevo and controlled all of that. So the news, all of that
they
stuff.
sent everything out. And that's why
and to them, everything, really quick, to them, into the world, the wars were ending and we were all in peace talks, while in the midst of that, the extremists of all the three governments were in that little village in the red zones.
We were in the red zone for 10 months.
Like, killing.
From April 93 to February 25th, when no guns was, after that, no bullet was shot. We were in that 10 months in that zone of the hell, of the killing that you would, if you fell asleep, you fell asleep with a grenade. If you wake up, you would wake up with a grenade. Mm-hmm. you didn't. I don't know how to explain that, but it was just like a music that you hate, and it's constantly just running around you. But I remember
the
morning
elevator
when they
music.
brought my mom and dad and my brother, God Almighty, he came with the car. They were like, my
Bruno,
mother,
right?
my mother was like peacemaker. God, it's not funny, but it came up to it.
It's our family.
And
It's
it
not a
has
funny
that
situation,
window
but our family.
that's there, and I saw the blue Lada,
Because it was
and then suddenly the opening door and shoving my mother in,
okay. So I have to ask you.
and they separate Dad
Yeah.
and Bruno with other people.
Right. Because they took the men away.
They put the men away, and then she's trying to make, and I'm trying to tell her, to make her to understand that this is not the way how she works. That it's someone's gonna, because she says, "Oh hey, how are you?" Because the guys like a guy that grew up with your dad, that was best friend. He was actually one who's had a gun in us, and she
right.
didn't understand that until maybe 10 days in it. They would come in every day or nights, or they would just pop up with the guns and put us to the wall and says, "Where's your husband?" or "Where is this? Where is that?" And you don't know answers. And I came. That's the first time I came to the point of breaking down. That one night when they came, they took Ivana. She was just a little baby. They took her and put a knife under her neck and said, "Oh, we're going to slit her throat. You need to tell." I says, "You can do whatever you want anymore. I can't. That's it. I don't know. You're going to kill us, kill us." And Yozo's mother, I told you, has those pills. I actually
I remember that.
mix all pills in a gallon, in one jar,
I remember that.
all that was possible, and they were asking me, "What you doing?" And I says, "Nothing, I'm just gonna kill all of us. I'm just gonna give that to my kids and to me, and we're gonna end it all." Because when we were captured, some crazy guy that, I understand why he's crazy. I mean, he lost his family in Ahmici.
Yeah.
He came and he shot in that basement that Benz was captured. That's when your grandpa was shot. And that's when Yozo was killed. That was Anto was injured. It was
So
the other
where was
one.
this? Okay.
Pedro was killed.
Okay, so tell me, I have to remember, because my on this part, in my head, the only part of that, like that part of them coming in, like when Grandma and, I remember Grandpa coming in, I remember seeing him, I gave him a hug, right? Did I?
No, you
First
didn't
time
even.
in my head.
Yes,
in
but
my
you
head.
didn't even see the grandpa. They separated them right away.
See, like in my head, I saw him. In my head, like literally, I.
No, they took them right away with the guns, and they shoved Grandma down in the basement with us.
Because they took him to the trenches too, right?
Yeah,
they were working in the trenches,
they
right?
take the men as a live wall.
Right, and put him in there.
And one night, I remember us hearing such a bad shooting and screaming. And then Maria, she asked the guy that was their best friend, he was Muslim, "What's going on? We just heard that father was killed, son was injured. And the other case, son was killed, father was injured. And that's Yozo's sister's son was killed. It's in one family."
Right.
That happening that morning, that night. And then we heard that, and they just came and they actually put woods on the windows. They closed everything. We didn't know nothing. I remember a guy, I thought he's gonna kill us, but it turns actually opposite. He was one who actually bring you some food. It was kid from Jajce that was keeping guard outside, who was saying, "This is not right. I don't want to do that."
See,
and then they sent him down to wherever they were attacking, and he was killed. But it was kid maybe 18, 19 years old. I can see his face now. He was just saying, "This is not right," and he was letting one of those guys in to give you guys some food, because we didn't, for first few weeks we didn't had nothing. And it was not just you, we were afraid. Jana was 13. The other families had girls too. We were afraid that someone's going to come and rape them and something's going to happen. And we tried whatever needs to go out, or whatever they were pulling people out for live wall or to opening the houses. It was one great crazy girl. God Almighty. They had us out, and her brother was in military. But she says, "Oh, my brother booped the house, put a grenade somewhere." And God Almighty, they sent her straight in. They were standing back, holding us with the guns, and she needs to go in and open every door, pick up every couch. And if it's go up, she's going to go up. That's what they're doing to us. And they finally, one day, for some reason, they had all of us, women's, everything, in the house, 2-story house. It was 80 of us in it. And just a few men was in the bottom. Remember Pero and Maria? Before they brought them, they had a man going on the live lines to...
Where did they live? Because
Pero and Maria lived
to the
right.
right of us. They had a little girl, right?
They have Biljana, and they had that little boy, Boris.
Boris, yeah.
Yes,
they were to the right of the pathway.
Yeah,
to,
they
to
were
the house.
coming and washing their clothes on
right,
our
right,
well.
Right. Because they would walk from the other.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I remember that.
I remember they pulled all of them, and Ljuban's dad was there, and we asked where's. They started talking that someone ran away. When they were getting them out to dig the trenches and everything, they told them if they try to run, because the other line is just maybe 100 yards there.
Right, because they were
just
on the line,
line.
literally. So you guys, war is not like, oh my God, we're miles away. Like, war is literally for
house
people
to house.
Like,
it was house to house.
From
one
right
house
here,
was them, and one
the
house
fence
was
line. Imagine your fence. Imagine your fence being the trenches. Like, your fence is your line, and the safety is across that fence. And if you could just make it there, like, that is your saving hope. If you could just make it there, like that, and that is your chance. Like, that's not your survival. That is your chance to survive. And remember, people are going through that right now.
And
like,
they were telling them if they try to run, because they brought Ljuban's dad back, and he was beaten. Me, and God, what his name is. Just two of us were able to go down there and give them food. And I went in, and we were asking Ljuban's dad, where's the others? And then he couldn't talk to say who was killed, who was
alive,
shot,
who was
what's happened. I didn't know that Grandpa was already taken that hospital down, that captured. We just heard what happened, but we didn't know what happened and who is involved. And I went there, and he also just said, "Oh, Pero ran." They told him they're gonna kill, but Pero was one, and he was drunky. He was amazing old guy. He just took the chance, and he saved us pretty much, because once he ran down to Croatia side, he told them that we were captured, and what Croatia military done have, they captured 100 other people. That was actually family related.
They traded
to some of the villages that they captured us, and instead of killing us, they involved the Red Cross.
And that's how Red Cross.
That's when we were put in one house. That's we find out that Pero ran. We still didn't know who was killed. But Maria, Josa's wife, she has that feeling that something. You have a feeling when someone that you love that's gone, when your heart just breaks. And Red Cross came. And this is sad and funny part. Red Cross came that day. They registered all of us, and they were bringing Drago down.
Drago.
Your uncle Drago, who was only 16 years old. He was in our house, what was left before they burned, picking up pictures, and they captured him. And then your grandpa gave a lamp and whatever, because your grandpa was respected and he knew those old people. And he was captured that day, registered with Red Cross, and somehow they let him go. Drago said, I'm not going to leave you. I says, no, you're going to go.
Right.
Whatever happened to us, you're going to go. You have to go.
He had to go.
And when Red Cross came, they brought some diapers, they brought some food for us, some milk for the kids. But I mean, 80 people in the house. No water. Nothing. And I don't know if it's adrenaline or you just don't think that way. And one of the guards, captain guards, his wife, Havel, captured down there.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they started talking about exchange. However, because of situation that your dad was and how he was as young, he always drank and he always fight with them.
So, mouth.
Yes. And
alcohol.
Regarding that, in that village, you have two brothers.
Dead meat.
You have two brothers, Safet and Sivro.
They had a huge conflict,
yes,
right?
Their last name was Sivro, but it was Safet and God, what is his name? The other one. Oh my God, I can't think. My brain is fried. But two of them, and I remember that one night they told us that guy came in, Behro came in and said to me, if you go for exchange, you cannot go to Vitez. And he told me that night that me and you guys, three of you girls, were marked to never get exchanged.
So we were not meant to be released.
No. They took us in the basement has the other room with some kind of shelves or whatever.
Right.
And he took you guys and me and he shoved us under that
and he hit us.
Shelves and hit us because he knew that Red Cross coming. But
so
we weren't supposed to be alive. And once we were registered, it was a different story when Red Cross started involving. We survived that night. Somehow it wasn't meant for us to go. But when we were taken after that for the exchange, I was told to not go to Vitez because down the road, it was already planned for us to be pulled off the bus.
And executed.
And I decided we're going to go to Zenza because they took all 80 of us out in a field in front of the house, in that backyard, actually front yard, and has cemetery, Muslim cemetery. And you can see all those bags, people that was brought from Ahmici to be buried. And we were just left there standing for 6 hours.
To watch.
And then they brought men that were there, and it was Jozo missing, Grandpa was missing, Pera was missing, Anto was missing, all of them. And that's when Maria broke, and it's so hard to keep someone from not screaming, losing someone when you have all guns around you, and you know that people suffer same.
Yeah, like it's the same.
There's
no difference
excuse,
between what happened to us to what happened to them. We were just like those innocents were just the casualties as we were. And whether we lived or died, it wouldn't have mattered.
Those
in
men
that sense.
and those kids didn't do absolutely nothing. They didn't choose that.
Mm-hmm.
They were just casualties, same that we were planned to be. How we were saved, God knows. But we weren't, because half village is gone. We weren't supposed to be one that lived.
Right.
And Red Cross brought the buses, and we went to Zenza. The other people went to Vitez. And your grandpa was already there. Drago was there with Maria in their house.
With Teta Maria, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were down in Zenza at Grandma's house, and that priest came for Chaidrash. That priest was going to be killed after, but priest
he was our priest, like
yeah,
right?
he was priest in Chaidrash, that we belonged to.
Right.
He came, and that's the first time that I find out that is live.
Right, because it was captured. It was.
And what saved your dad your dad, guys, your dad real name was Ljubko, but his baptized name was Ivica, and everybody knows him as Ivica.
That. So when they called for execution,
when they released him, they figured out that they released actually person that they want to kill.
So, and you'll let me know if for my story a little bit on that story, that the day my dad was in prison on that, they called by name, literally by name, every single person they were executing, and took his friends, family, whatever was with him, and
his friends, everybody knew. They couldn't say that.
And guess what? And guess what? Every single one of them that died too. They all knew. I mean, they all knew that they knew him. They knew the names. They knew all that stuff. And every single one of them, and those sacrificed their lives. You know,
they
like
never said a name.
No. Again, the amount of it amazes me, and we think that there's no good humanity in the world. It amazes me what.
No.
If we open our mouths or we close them, how we can save either take or kill it. Literally, with opening your mouth. If my uncle had said, "Hey, like they're coming," if he would have said, "Hey, they're coming. We were warned. You got to get out that night." Okay, we either would have been dead in the woods somewhere because we would have been caught in the aftermath, right? Or we would have never had to go through that in that sense. But that possibility of a chance of something, of a hope. Now, not to say that we weren't meant to go through all of that. But again, it goes to that. And then the people sitting with my dad who knew.
His brother was there too.
They were going to die.
Ante was there too.
And yet...
Ante Vervolo that had that kafana that he gave me, that restaurant that we hold.
Where was they? They had
the restaurant they gave us prior to the war.
Right.
I owned the restaurant.
Right.
I rented the restaurant for a year, and that's how we built our house and everything. He had a son that was killed after that in the war too. But I remember that day when a priest told me that they're gonna release. Grandpa came home. He was shot in the leg. He was devastated. He looked the Yozo just getting shot straight in the head, and he says his head just came like this, and that was it. He had always head on the head, and that head just come like this. And he remember a Regio guy, Yozo's cousin, was shot all the way in the back, but they let him to bleed out. They didn't give them help. And I remember that day when I went to get Dad. I saw him, he had red, they gave him red pants and a khaki shirt, something like on it, and had a cafe bar that I was always on the street where I grew up in Zenza. And I saw him coming down the road. God Almighty, he was so skinny, he was. But we went to Grandma's home, and then we find out too that we have to leave because they find out
that he's.
And they find for us. We went to visit Maria.
Wow, we were a wanted family, guys.
We went to visit Maria in Stranjani. Grandpa was there, and that's when I decided to take 3 of you and Drago. Žana stayed with Grandma, and Dad's gonna go to the woods.
Right. And we were going to meet up afterwards, right?
Because Nevenka's house was same. They were all up in the Guča Gora,
right,
in that village. Everybody escaped. And Maria was saying, no, you're not going to go. But Grandpa said, you have to go.
Right. I mean,
it's not just you, it's all of us were going to be killed.
Yeah.
And I took 3 of you. You had Venomir shoes that they're small on your feet.
No wonder I love him so much.
That were so small. I remember I had the jackets, like, it's not leather, but it's imitation jacket. And I had 1 bottle milk in one side, the other bottle milk in the other side for the Ivana. Nothing for you guys. We didn't have nothing. I couldn't bring nothing. I didn't have documents. I didn't have absolutely
nothing.
Nothing. And it's about 8 miles walk from Maria's house to Guča Gora, where everybody escaped.
Right.
When Nevenka was and everybody escaped. I took 3 of you. Drago was coming with us, and it was hills. It's kind of going through the mountains to get there. I was carrying Ivana, Dragana was walking, and your feet were bloody in those shoes. Drago tried to carry one each, one you a little bit Dragana. And we came to the post when Muslims controlled. God Almighty, I will never forget that. And what we were advised to say was that we're going to call the family to come back, that we can stay there. We couldn't say that we were from Pochulca because it's still Pochulca. Nobody knew exactly what's happened to those people, to those 86 people.
Yeah, we were still.
It was kind of like, and guys stopped us. They had a big bean on the road. Guys stopped us, and I was telling them, I said, I'm gonna go. I just need to find some family to see that I can stay there, and we're gonna be back. And they says, yeah, you have bus at 4 o'clock that's gonna pick up everybody. Better come back. And Drago says, oh, we will see if you're gonna come back. And I stepped on his foot.
16-year-old
I wanted to God Almighty, I wanted to.
Even then, even in the midst of war, you can still be a smart ass.
And we passed them, and we went maybe 300 yards. It was one house that Catholic people, Croatian people were still there. They didn't left. And after that, all those people who left were going to be killed. That's what happened. But we stopped there, and that lady gave you guys some
prunes,
jello spread on the
Jelly.
bread. And God Almighty, you and Dragana were suffocating yourself with it.
It was the best jelly sandwich I must have ate.
And not even 2 minutes after that, army, Bosnia-Herzegovina army, whatever, car was pulling in driveway. I died. I says, okay, they came after us, they find us. But they just asked something people and they left. We pretty much ran 3 miles all the way up the hills. And we came to the point Shushain Selo, where actually Croatia flag was there. And you can see Croatia soldiers and everything. I don't know if ever in my life that I cried. Like, I sat on the concrete asphalt on the road and I just braked. I couldn't believe that I was able to get there. We get there, and it was lots of Croatian people and our family, Nevenka, Tete, all of those, Kata, lots of people that we have there. And Nevenka's husband, Ivica, he was alive at that time. Everybody was there.
Okay, so I have to ask right there before we get into that. Is that where he died?
No, he died in Vitez.
He died in
Vitez. He was first casualty, sniper casualty.
Sniper casualty, right?
Actually second. First was a judge, Vitez judge. And he was second casualty of the sniper on the road.
When he was, He
died in July.
And it was after...
He was dying in July. That time I was in a hospital.
Yeah.
But we're going to get to there. But he died in July. Yeah. First sniper shot killed. He was pretty much our first family a victim of more that's going to follow after that. And they brought us up there in that village, and suddenly, because Darko Kraljevic and all of them, that was dads, nobody knew what happened to them, for dad or us. And Pikan find out that we're alive.
Is he on Facebook?
Oh yeah,
Hi Pikan.
He's in.
Yeah, I thought so.
He's in Paris. Yeah, Paris. And Pikan, they won't find out about us, and then suddenly, 2 days after we were there, because it's still long way to the Vitez to get there. Suddenly, cars show up, and they're looking for us. They're looking for those people that came from Pochulca that they survived. And they took us in Kucha Gora in the church above. They had military
base,
whatever that thing that they control,
control room,
command room or whatever. And they took us there, and they kind of to tell them what's happened, who survived, how, because nobody know nothing on it. And that's when the
80,
Pecans-
how many of us were the 82?
86.
86. The 86 forgotten people of the Bosnian War. Man, what a story.
And then they sent the car and they took us into Vitesse. And they took us into school where was a military base for dads, for his friends. And Pecan was there. They just told me, I know Dad told me too, once I get there to find Pecan. Pecan was a great guy, and
Still
he is. And I went there and I find Pichola, and I find Pecan, and it was Pero. And one of their guys, Pecan was asking, where's the dad, what's happened? He was drunk, he was hangover.
Sorry, that's what
Hangover,
you do.
that's how it is. That's the only way they
I mean,
could fight.
they could cope
because
too.
of
I mean,
the-
you gotta like.
I mean, we all had those experiences, but actually soldiers, and that's coming to here to America soldiers too. Nobody understands. They
The
think
level.
PTSD. They think medication. Nobody understands what is until you see and until you feel to see that your body is blown, that you're half away, blowed away, and you survive. No pills can cope with that. That's actually what's ended mine. That's marriage, pretty much. You live with that every day. You go to sleep, you dream, you see those friends, and that's friends. Only few of them survived, of the 55 of them in the group.
I mean, he watched.
And
I mean,
every of them.
And okay, so going back to this. So what we're gonna do, we're not like we'll stop the story here today because I want to talk a little bit on there. and We'll continue the story part of it on there, but I wanted to talk about people to understand the amount of guilt and the amount of things that soldiers have to live with, being the last thing that somebody sees, or having the guilt that their friend didn't say anything to save their life, and they're alive now. That's something that we don't understand.
So
that's something that we
you
will
see-
never understand.
That's the thing.
That guilt.
You think that you should die same,
Absolutely.
and why you survived, and how you're gonna look to that family. It's a every of them. I don't think that has any person who had to take a gun and take alive that
It's
can
not
cope with that easily, because no matter what that people did, you have to kill him before he kills you. But
The understanding on
but
that
with
level
any
is-
conscious that
Right.
that person has, you dream about that kill.
so.
You live with that.
Yeah, it's
And then you
it's
come
on a
back
whole different
here,
level.
and
And you're
those-
living in a freedom world where you're free. You don't have to worry about somebody shooting you in a second. But the fact that you have lived in months, years of combat or of a situation, and the amount of people you actually had to kill, and again, the understanding of why you did it. Me or him, any day, understand survival instinct. That on that level, completely comprehensible, completely even adjustable to retrain your brain into just thinking that. But here, knowing that you took somebody's child, somebody's
It's-
mother, you're putting a humanity to something. It's a whole different conscious level
It's
of
a thing
PTSD
that when you are in the
and
war,
guilt and
when
depression
you're in
and
the
everything.
war, your adrenaline is up. You don't think too much. But thing is, what's happened after you came, and everything is okay. You don't need to worry anymore. Oh, is it gonna shoot? What's gonna happen? But point is that people who are in the war and who never were, who lives like here or anywhere in the world that it's peace, that's safety, safe. People realize reality of life. That life is not just that. That everything can be taken in a second.
Like,
And how people, and what it's most get is how people don't appreciate what they have.
not at all.
That whatever money can buy, it's not worth it. That in a second you can lose all of it.
And what people think that they're entitled to.
They think that that hate and that everything that's happening. I'm just talking now here in America, but it's happening in Europe, anywhere in
Everywhere.
the world. You have everything. And you're still ungrateful. And you still want more. And you still are mean and hateful.
Yeah, and
you don't know what people pass, that people still don't have. You have bathrooms, you have nice houses, nice car. People live still outside, they don't know what is the stove, electric stove.
They don't know what electricity is, some of them.
After war, when we were in Vitez, God Almighty has a family that everybody talks about, that lived in etched. They didn't have electric stove, they always have wooden stove. They try to put fire in a stove and says, why it's smoking, why doesn't it go out, why it's smoking in the house. They didn't know that it's electric. Kids that walk miles to school, they don't have a food. They think if they're going to wake up in the morning. Parents who for a few days don't even eat anything. And that's the point of all of it. What happened to me and you guys, we survived. And that's what changed me here. And they don't understand. I had such a tremendous PTSD and depression that when I was younger, I was able to copy. I mean, when you're younger, you deal with it. But in 2009, I mean, even in the war that we skipped, I tried to cut my wrist. I couldn't take anymore. I couldn't wait for the moment that something's going to happen, any of you, and I have to live on that.
Right.
I just want to end my life, and I don't know, I don't see whatever happened. After that, when I survived that, I didn't have right to do that. I didn't have right to leave all of this on you. But that's the moment when person's mind break.
The mind takes over, basically. The mind says you're not strong enough anymore to fight this. You can't handle, like, after, it's so funny, and it's not funny, but it's so amazing to me to think that when we get to that point of absolute no, like, not necessarily no fear, no danger. No, I'm talking about your environment. Okay, listen, like your environment. When you get to that point where you're free and you're out of it and you're away from that and all of that stuff, because of your fighting instinct, okay, because the fact that you're in immediate danger, right, you can fight because at that moment you want to live, right, you want to live because you absolutely know that it is not going to be your second, okay, right, you know that. If somebody has a gun to your head, you know that in a second you're dead, okay, but when you're alone and you have nothing but your own mind, it's so much more powerful than that gun. It is so much more powerful than that gun because you are the one pulling the trigger now. You're the one telling yourself now that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve to be in this world, that your life, your value, your anything is not worth it. So, like, it's how the peace. How peace can kill you, basically. How, yes. Like, the peace.
That's why when soldiers come back here and everything, they're having a hard time adjusting
to the peace of life
because they saw it.
Right, they've lived. This is their life. This right here.
And this is why that's happening there. Why everybody can live just in the peace. Why it should be all.
Or like for all of you who don't understand this part. When you have soldiers who are your friends, or when you have friends who are going through things or are in the military, anything like that, when you start complaining how ungrateful you are, how
your
terrible,
life is hard,
how your life is hard, like, and they're here listening to you bitch about how you couldn't do something on Saturday night, or how some bitch screwed you over, or how you know, like, or even on a more serious note, how, like, you know, we can't, right, this moment, it's so hard because we can't afford to pay our rent, or we can't, and those are stressful. I'm not saying they're not, but when we complain on a level of things like that to somebody, especially a soldier, okay,
people who went
that
through.
value of your, and again, it's not saying that your value of your problems is not justified at that moment for you, okay, but when you look at a bigger picture, these
Who
soldiers,
cares? This is just a house.
Right, they have been in a place. They have been in a place where, again, like you said, they have seen it, where they don't even have the ability to have a roof over.
They don't have basic needs of the life.
Like, they have nothing, and we complain about every single thing. We are so ungrateful about the dimmest things. Like, my car is not the coolest color, or I don't have AC in my car. Fuck, bitch, sweat your ass off. Like, I don't understand.
Whatever money can buy, people don't understand. Whatever money can buy can be sacrificed.
Like that.
You don't need
Gone.
that. Life is, you can't buy a life. You can buy the peace. When I started telling you about, like, in 2009, when Dad and I were gonna get that process of when we're gonna end our marriage after 24 years, which was so hard. I mean, we have 6 kids of you guys, and it was hard moments. It was good moments. We went through the hell.
Yeah.
I mean, hell. But both of us came to the point that depression and everything is taking so much toll on us.
Two depressed people in one relationships.
He turns to the
alcohol
and
you
living
turn to
still,
pills.
He's still living in the mind of what happened there.
Right, he's still in that reality.
I don't want to go back. For me, that life is over. I couldn't take anymore. And help is out there. I decided to look for help. I went to the doctors. I try any possible, I think, depression pills that is out.
Everything.
I had it.
Pill addicted.
This is go to counseling. I go to what counselor is gonna tell me that I don't know. I know all of it. But I needed the strength in me to pull that out. He can tell me, talk open, be open. I can talk all day about it. But when night comes, when I close my eyes, I go through all of that. And it's just repeating and repeating and repeating and killing you. I decide, after all those failed depressions and everything, I find a great psychiatrist that was here, the Sai, and I researched it a little bit, and I find electroshock therapy. And I spoke with him, we had great conversations about that, and I knew what is going to be side effects. And you have to decide, are you going to go through that, or you don't see any more life, your life doesn't go anywhere else. That's it. I came to the point, or end it or leave it. No, I love my kids more than anything, but he just couldn't be any more able to go.
You didn't have any more of yourself to give.
I can't, because my life became nothing. My life became just...
And not just that, you as a self, as a human being, everything you've been through was taken away from, you were taken piece by piece through your life.
I didn't have any more strength.
You didn't know who you were. You never got a chance to learn who you were. You never had the even an ounce of an experience to understand a self, a son, where we go through our teenage stage, our adult stage, our promiscuous stage, anything. You didn't have anything.
And when I come into that point and I can believe that 90% of soldiers feel same. I came here, it was peace, and I don't know how to live in that, because I get used to it.
You lived your life in chaos,
to be
in danger,
on the edge, to be always ready to move. I mean, and then suddenly came peace. Here, I can sleep, and I'm listening to those people just complaining, and God Almighty. And I decided to go through electroshock therapy, which everybody knows from a long time ago. That's cuckoo thing. They fried your brains, and it did. I knew side effects, and it's so sad to tell that my brain is rebooted like a computer and has an update, but I was able to move with life. But sad thing is,
your brain functionality.
Sad thing is
reversed.
Side effects state that I get disconnected.
Which is your brain dissociation.
You see, when I'm with you guys, that's why I'm calling. That's why I'm saying always, if I don't call you when you don't call me for a few days, I start losing even knowledge that I had you. And
It's
I'm
just
looking
that
at those
dissociation
pictures,
from it.
and I'm looking at those pictures, and every day that I go through life now, it's like from the movie 50 Days, 50 Dates, Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
It's like that. I wake up in the morning,
And you have to go through it. You have to
and I cannot associate with nobody. And that's what your dad couldn't understand. He was battling his own depression. But I had to do that to be able to be on this earth. And it's so hard. Now I can talk about war and everything without any emotions. But when it's come like to you, to everybody that I know, my family, my friends, I know them. But it feels every day, new day, I have to learn about them. I love all of you, but it's that emptiness in me,
right.
in my brain,
It's just, it's the dissociation.
blocking, and I can't feel it, like
Right, it's the separation of your emotions and your reality, if you will.
like I can't.
You can live day-to-day basis, you can do all that stuff, but to dwell into
And
the emotional
I'm just
part is even
trying
more.
to get everything in the day possible.
Every day,
That
it's
it's
every day,
good.
right.
I can't, like with the stress and everything. You remember when you told me I'm blocked? Yes, I can. As soon as it starts, things happening, my brain blocks. I don't know what to say. I don't know how
it's
to
a
react.
self-defense mechanism.
I just said I can't, and now I have to pull back. But I'm grateful. I was able to get back to school again, to get what I want. And look at me today. I'm working, and I can. I know that it's
From 4 years ago, Mom, you couldn't even work.
no.
You
I
know
was
what I mean?
5
Like
years.
5 years, 4 or 5 years ago, you couldn't even move.
I was from 2009 to 14. I was on full disability, and people wants to stay on disability. I was one who wanted to run. I was one who tried to. I just knew that I can do more. If I'm going to live this life, I have to do more. I have to be able to. I never was able to say, okay, that's it. No, or whatever. I always try to please everybody else, whatever they want, however they want. But now,
I'd like to take some credit in that.
now I can say, okay, that's it. But worst thing that hurts, and you see, it hurts now, and in a few hours after this, it's gonna be like it's never happened.
Oh, I know.
That's the things that I can't change.
See, like,
But at least give me a life, some
You-
kind of life.
see, the electroshock therapy did that to you. The brain dissociation was the aftermath of that. The brain dissociation for me was what happened to me from beginning. It's developed in children who suffer from trauma so like instantly. And basically what you do is you take yourself, your whole self, and you dissociate yourself from that environment, which is why I have no memories, okay? It also is that dissociation creates multiple personalities and multiple memories and multiple identities and things like that. And so for me, that's why I have so many different memories of so many different pieces, and they're pieced together into 2 big days, like those little bits, because like I said, I don't remember yours, all right? I don't remember that part, but I remember them coming in the house. And see, now that I remember that part, maybe for me as a child, I didn't understand the level of severity when Dad had to leave that morning. Do you know what I mean? I didn't understand the level, or when I
Why
heard
he
the
had to
bomb.
leave.
Well, I didn't hear when I heard all of that. Maybe I didn't understand that level of like what it was. But when I saw them, that fear. So PTSD, all of this stuff, like in a sense, is your body goes into this hypersensitive mode where every single nerve ending in your body and your brain and everywhere is on, like, it goes from like standard right here where we are to literally up here. And
Just
and
imagine,
that's when memories,
just
like,
imagine, like, and it's happening somewhere else now too. All of it.
Aleppo. I mean, right now, all of this is happening at this moment.
Just think about, like,
Except they have
before
they're using
Kijanja
yoga.
Vaselo happened, it was Christmas, 93. Christmas Eve, 22nd, there. Kijanja Vaselo happened on 22nd or 23rd December on 93. I'm not sure exact on the day, but I remember Christmas Eve. when we escaped, when we were brought back to the Vites, when we came there, with just sudden things, they put us with the Muslims in the house. It was, you can't even explain that. But that Christmas Eve, we didn't have nothing to eat. I find some rice, and I made pita from rice, some flowers and some rice.
Which is why pita is always my favorite.
Everybody, all village was already gone there, because Krzyżanci was always right behind us. And Muslims took the line. And the Christmas Eve, when should be most happiest day in a year, I had to take 3 of you with Drago. We had that, what is called that?
Barrel.
Barrel?
Yeah. The barrels.
Barrel. I put Ivana and Dragana in barrel. And you were walking, and we walked 3 miles in the rain, in the snow, all around to get from that village that was taken, that we didn't know if Anto survived. Anto was hid there.
Right, because
yeah. We didn't know. I had to take all of you walking to get to the other side. I mean, constant running to try to save your most precious things, your children, to save those lives. What you go through, and in that moment, just that adrenaline, everything. You don't think. You don't think about bullets. You just hear them all around.
You just think about saving
just to
your
get
children
out.
and
Just
getting out.
to try to get out. I mean, I just can say, if people saying, "Oh, you're gonna go heaven or hell or whatever," it's when I die, I don't know. I don't care. Nobody came back and tell us this is heaven, this is hell. But I know what life hell is, and how you have to find that string, and you don't know where it comes. But how we're getting older, things are running out. You don't have anymore. You just get so full.
life beats
So
you
full.
to pulp.
And I wish that everybody, every human being here, everywhere in the world, understands that, yes, I'm going to pay rent. Yes, it's my responsibility. We all have to work. Without work, you can't have nothing. Nothing is going to come on the pound. But when it comes situations to choose between my family happiness and everything, or house or car or whatever, who gives a crap? It's just a house. I can live in a carton box outside. So far I know that everybody's safe. But it's not priority. It's not what you have. It's who you are. It has a reason for everything. Every child, when it's born, didn't say, "I want to come in this life." I chose to have you guys. My life was hell, and you know we're gonna get to that another time. My life of growing up was hell. I was born sick. I lost a breast to the kind of cancer when I was a child, 2 months. I had radiation. I survived all those hell. I decided, and with what happened with my mother, with rape, with everything. When I decided to have you, which every parent should, every mother and father, but especially mother, when you bring a child in the world, it's not anymore about you, about parties, about what you missed. It's sacrifice. Better do not have the child. And if you don't make all efforts to break a circle of bad things that happen to you, we says kids are bad. They're not. They're looking at us. Kids looking at us. Every child wants to be. And if every child reacts differently on how they're asking for help. Some would stamp, some would become quiet, some would scream.
Totally different way of expression.
And you need to know your child, and when you see first time that something wrong, that child doesn't smile same way, he's stamped, you have to step in right away. Because when you let it go, that kid will gonna go and ask for help somewhere else, and the person who's gonna help them, if they're lucky, it's gonna be good. If not, it's gonna be drug, it's gonna be killing, it's gonna be. Kids are not bad. They're a reflection of how we raise them, what we teach them. and what is more important, them or us.
Right.
I don't want to go for the party. I don't want to. Yeah, I was 28. You have kids. Oh, I didn't see nothing. I didn't do nothing. But hey, you decide to have that child. Better don't, until you're ready, don't have it. And so many of those kids can be saved.
Mm-hmm. And all we have to do is try.
So many, just when they come to you. Or they says, oh, they're thief, they're bad family. Yes, but that kid's growing up like that. Mm-hmm. And I know that I always said, purpose of my life and everything that I went through, if whoever hears this, if just one person decide to change and to save one child, my purpose is fulfilled. Mm-hmm. I did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's...
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
guys.
we can go on this. It's so many things. We can
Don't
go
worry.
on this.
The story. We have 2 months to tell you our story. We have 2 months. We'll be doing this once a week, where we're gonna get together and do this and share this, so that you understand what Project H really is about. Project H, Project Human, is about our humanity and about us understanding our humanity, and how we can change the world just because, one, we can, and through art, through being able to give these kids a way to express themselves. Kids like me. And not just kids, but adults, young adults, anybody, but the ability to be a mentor, to be a leader in a community, just because we choose to be, is what the whole goal and hope is for. So, thank you for tuning in and learning the beginning of my story as well with me, because I've had no idea. And as you can tell, shocked at some of the things I heard, because that's not what I've replayed in my head my whole life. Like, my whole life is a lie, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, but my whole life of what happened to me is a lie, and that's so hard to process, because again, it's what I've dissociated so much. It's gone, and we'll get into more of that, because I have to go to.
And what your mind wants to say, and what your mind telling you, and most of the time, your brain push bad things
outside, and it's gone, right?
Subconsciously,
right,
and then start coming out, and you have to deal with it, and you don't know, because it's just compact in it.
It's, as we said, our brains are like computers. But we'll talk more about that. Go to my May mental health wellness or mental health book challenge group if you want to be part of that. We're doing that. We're going to be talking about mental health illness and illnesses and disorders and any of that stuff of any kind. And again, it stems down through anything. And I want to see how we can open up this conversation about the emotion, the extreme emotional and conscious level of our choices and our decisions, which is what the whole project is about, and the understanding of that. So go to the event ticket, or go to the tickets link and get your tickets today for, again, the event. Go to the GoFundMe so we can fund this project and we can push this whole mentoring program off the ground, and this whole way to help these kids in these schools and underprivileged in there. Go get the magazine, because the magazine is going to have more stories of this. It's going to be more into this and details of part of that. And again, all of that is going to this.
Donating at least $10, $20. Some kids going 3 days without food. And why couldn't we go just one lunch?
But we'll spend it on, coffee and stuff like that, which, again, we're privileged to do that, we're entitled to do that and all that stuff. It doesn't matter, but it's time for our community. We can't do it. It's so hard for me to say this, but there's not much we can do out there in that sense, but we can physically, with our hands, minds, and feet, and every part of us, do something here in Jacksonville and change some things, and that's what I want to do. I want to change the way we think about our communities and the way we view each other. At the end of the day, you cut yourself, we all bleed same. Everything is happening the same. Doesn't matter how you look, who you are, what do you have. You can have billions. You can have nothing.
When it hits you, you lose your child or something. No money can buy you that. Right. And that's always what I always said. Whatever money can buy, it's not important. It's not worth it. You buy one car, you lose it, it's gonna come. But when you lose your child, when you lose someone that you love, that's can't buy back.
No. So I'm going to go and process all of this information, because don't know yet how I feel about it. And so I'm a little bit on my little spectrum of my my disorder is coming out because I'm going my emotional level. So I'll update you guys later on how I'm feeling and processing that, and once I go over this. But thank you for letting me know.
Thank you, girl, for letting me to say.
Well, I think the fact that we are the whole, and again, learning, and this is something I learned today, being that 86 people in a war where hundreds of thousands and almost 1 million people were murdered mercilessly, and 86, this little piece of number, nobody knew anything about for weeks that we even existed. And you know what else? According to the papers and the death certificates in the Bosnia, we are officially declared dead. I've seen my name. We are officially declared dead. And to have a part of your identity that you don't even know die before you even had a chance to explore it? And this is from my side now, you know what I mean? It's so mind blowing.
And I just remember us when we came here, because when we went to decide to come in America, I mean, when I show up that Ivana was 18 months old here, being registered as a Red Cross, as a prisoner of the war, it was just like that. We show up today, this says come tomorrow, you can just go. And we landed in New York, in JF Kennedy. I had about $25, whatever it was. That was first time you guys were introduced to burger.
Oh yeah, what do we have? McDonald's, right?
Yes.
Okay, so my post-war coming to America, my first meal in America, and my
McDonald's.
Freedom was McDonald's. So thank you, McDonald's.
And I remember God, we were so scared. Anna was only 3 months old, and I had just one suitcase. That's how we came in America. I didn't have ID. I didn't have driver's license, passport. I had a Red Cross ID paper with just the pictures of us. We landed, and I got so scared. I mean, unbelievably. And I remember you that I will never forget. You're only 10 years old, not even 10 already yet. It was May when we came, and July you will be 10. And you were holding me and telling me in my language how whatever happened to us and how we survive has a purpose, and no matter what, that we're going to be okay. It's meant something for. It's showing just your spirit, your belief. It's unbelievable. That kid who is that age, but a lot. And I know that you have a lot of that you remember and you saw it, but subconsciously push it, and it's just popping up as pieces, like a puzzle that you can't put together yet to get that to finish, to get that final piece.
Yeah, that whole final picture. So anyway, so we're going to find out what kind of human I am, July 14th, 2017. So you better be there. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week on there. We'll do this again, and I appreciate you guys' support. Let's spread the word in the conversations of love, peace, and happiness and kindness, and change the world for the better.
Thanks.